Afrovalley is dealing with agro supply chain challenges, addressing them. How do those challenges affect women and girls, and do they affect them disproportionately to other members of society?
Yeah, very good question. One of the biggest thing about agro supply chain is basically it's a very silo. Like when you talk about agro supply chain, you have finance, you have transport, you have agriculture itself, and these are basically the entire supply chain. But each work on their own space and silo, and they're not focused around, let's say, societal. So you don't see anything saying we're agro supply chain. Our mission is to basically change people's lives. Each KPI, if you look at it, they're basically saying, I want to increase the number of transport, or I want to reduce cost, or this. So I saw that there was an issue in coordination, which basically affect whether it's a man or a woman. The other thing that I saw in agro supply chain is basically a huge labor force comes from women, but the decision making is relies on men, and the front runners are men. Even when I go to meetings to mobilize farmers, we see a lot of men coming to the conferences, to the meetings, to the trainings, but the labor is done by women. It's a disgrace for the sector itself because the actual knowledge and work is done by women. But then again, the people that are doing the decision are men based on theoretical thing or based on what they think they know. So that's impacting the sector itself. So we actually had to make it a point that even when we gather people, we enforce that we see at least 5, 6 people in the panel, and where even we encourage the women to speak up, to give their point of view, and even we reward like the men to bring to pass the contract to their wives, because then the wives can become like engaged in the market linkage because they can bring their own personal knowledge that they've achieved through the work, but also they will be empowered better. So actually, the agro supply chain has its own technical issues, but then also it has big issue in terms of bringing women and girls into like the actual supply chain. I bet you, if you come to Ethiopia and look at in meetings, it's all men, and then even like from agriculture ministerial point of view, if you see there is no women in agriculture, like it's incredible. And I've never seen even in Ethiopia women agriculture minister, because this shows you how why the sector has not grown, why Africa has not grown, because it actually basically doesn't bring the right people into the front line, and that's why we're trying to see by advocating specific to women focused, even like for the man to share their bank account with their women. Even like when we go to the site, we have conversation with them because in Ethiopia, especially, it's a polygamy. There are areas that are polygamy is exercised, and you have men having 2 wives, 3 wives, and some of the response that you get is for which one, right? Like for me, it kills me inside because it's just this women are seen as they say a facilitator to a man, which because he has big land, that he feels like he has to be boosted by this woman, and he marries this 2, 3, 4 women because he needed help to feed him, and it's just a bad story. But we're trying to educate the farmers to basically see the women as themselves, because emotionally even the men are not, I don't think they would appreciate if the woman goes have 2 husbands. So emotionally, it's a distress for the women and the farming economy, and also by keeping them behind, we're actually not motivating them and we're disservicing the economy. So by highlighting this this discoveries or these areas, we're basically trying to push incremental changes.